All right, hi folks. This is Larry Massolino. I wanted to record a video here for Module 4. And students were asking for some help on two particular topics here in Module 4 down here on writing a multi-step equation and then solving a value mixture problem. These are actually related problems. So let's do a couple of examples here. So let me get started with writing a multi-step equation. So let me open this one up and let's take a look at this one. I'm going to get an example that's a little better representation here. Let's do this one. And we could do another one as well, but let's do this one to get started. Okay, so it says LaShonda works as a tutor for $11 an hour and a waitress for $13 an hour. This month, she worked a combined total of 91 hours at her two jobs. Write an expression for the combined total dollar amount she earned. All right, well, first, let me think about the starting point for this problem. So I know this person is working at two different jobs. Now, I also know they want the dollar amount she earned. So I have to think about, how do you calculate the dollar amount earned at a job? Well, you would take the hourly rate. For example, she earns $11 an hour as a tutor. That's the hourly rate for that job, times the number of hours worked. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say you were making $15 an hour, let's say, and you worked 10 hours, right? Well, that would be $150 earned. All right, so that's the basic setup that we have to think about. Now, I think it's easier if you set up a table for these kinds of problems, because there's a lot of information flowing around on these problems. If I could set up a table, I think that's going to help me organize things. So let me set up a table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write here the job that she has. I'm going to also write down here the hourly rate. I'm going to also write down the hours worked. And I need one more column for the dollar amount earned. Now, I know how to calculate the dollar amount earned. Let me erase this here for a second. So let me make one more column for dollar amount earned. All right. And I know how to calculate that last column. What I'm going to do for that is I'm going to take the hourly rate times the hours worked. That's going to equal the dollar amount. All right, let me start filling in this table with what I know. All right, first, I know there's two jobs. There's the tutoring job and the waitress job. I know the hourly rates. Those were given to me in the prompt. For the tutor, she's making $11 per hour. And as the waitress, she's making $13 an hour. All right, now here's the tricky part. Hours worked. Now, they didn't tell me what the actual hours worked are for either of his job, but they did say use the letter T for the number of hours she worked as a tutor. So right here, I'm going to put a T, because they told me let T represent the hours worked as a tutor. One other thing I have to figure out, what should I put in this green box here for the hours worked as a waitress? They're not telling me how many hours she worked as a waitress, but I do know it was 91 hours altogether. Well, here's the key to this problem. If it's 91 hours total, and it was T hours for the tutor, how many hours are left over for a waitress job? Let me give you a simple example to kind of illustrate this. Let's say she was working 20 hours as a tutor. And I told you this week she worked 35 hours total. All right, she worked 35 hours total, 20 hours of tutor. what's left over for the hours of a waitress? Well, I would subtract the total minus the hours tutoring. That would be 15 hours for the waitress job. So if I take the total, 91, and subtract T, that's going to be the hours left over for the waitress job. So that's what I'm going to put here, 91 minus T. Now I'm going to go ahead and multiply the hourly rate times the hours worked. So I'm going to take 11 multiplying T, that's 11T. In the second row, I'm going to take 13 times 91 minus T. And that's the dollar earned for the waitress. But remember, they want the total dollar amount earned. Well, that's really just going to be adding these two jobs, the dollar amount for the two jobs together. So I'm going to take 11T, because that's the amount she earned as a tutor, and add 13 times 91 minus T, because that's the amount earned as a waitress. And so this is the answer that Alex is looking for. Okay. All right, so that's that example. Let me do one other quick example similar to this, just so you can see the setup. Let me go to one other quick example here. Let's do this one. All right, so this one says she's taking classes at a West Side college in Pinewood. At West Side, the class fees are $98 an hour. Pinewood, class fees are $150. She's taking combined 18 hours. Suppose she's taking W hours at West Side. Write an expression for the combined total dollar amount she paid for her classes. Well, here's the setup I have to think about for this kind of a problem. I want to know the dollar amount she paid for her classes. Well, if you think about it, you've got to take the cost per credit hour and multiply it by the number of credits she's taking. I guess I'll say the number of credit hours she's taking. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set up a table again, just like I did on the previous example. And for this table I'm going to set up, I'm really going to take this little equation here and copy it over. So here is the different colleges she's going to attend. Here is the cost per credit hour. Here is the number of credit hours. And here is the dollar amount. All right, and I know the equation, so I'm going to write here. The equation is going to be take the cost per credit hour, multiply it by the number of credit hours, and that equals the dollar amount paid. All right, so let me start filling in this table. There's a West Side College in Pinewood. Okay. And the cost per credit hour is given to us in the problem. At West Side, it's $98 a credit hour. Let's see, at Pinewood, it's $115 a credit hour. All right, what about the number of credit hours? Well, again, we don't know that, but they did say W is the number of credit hours at West Side. So I'm going to put a W. How about filling in this blue box? Well, I need the number of hours at Pinewood. Nowhere in this problem does it tell me that, but I do notice that there's a total of 18 credit hours at both schools. So if it's 18 credit hours total, and W is the number of credit hours at West Side, if I subtract 18 minus W, that must be what's left over as the credit hours for Pinewood. So that means I'm going to put 18 minus W in this box. All right, now I'm going to fill in this last column, dollar amount paid. For that, I'm just going to multiply straight across, 98 times W. For the bottom row, it's 115 times 18 minus W. All right, but they want the total dollar amount paid. Well, the total dollar amount paid is just going to be adding these two expressions together. I'm going to take the dollar amount paid at West Side and add it to the dollar amount paid at Pinewood, and that's going to be the total dollar amount paid. So this is the answer that Alex is looking for. All right, hope this is helpful as you're working in Module 4. I'm going to record a separate video for that value mixture problem topic, and then I'll also share that as well. All right, thanks.